Welcome back, fellow armchair generals. This is Gamer 1745 with my continuing look at how well Third Reich Events is doing with Black Ice. So we're going to continue this. If you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel. You can hit that like button at any time. If it really gets bad, you can always unhit it and hit the negative one, but I would appreciate if you do dislike a video, just tell me why. Just put a comment. I dislike the video because I'm rambling too much, or whatever it might be. It just gives me feedback. I am quite honestly, dislikes. You can just give me the feedback without the dislike, but I get dislikes, and a lot of people, and I know there is a churn over people, coming and going from YouTube channels. It's fine, but I always like the feedback of why you're leaving. I just want to know. It may or may not change my behavior, but it would be interesting to know. Twin engine airframe research has advanced. That would be over here, and that's grayed out. Good. Wing aerodynamics, which I don't think is grayed out, and I think that's what is pushing too far forward. So we're going to come down here. Okay, transports are 38. I don't know how much I want to do of these things, but definitely the damage control and fire control computers are things that will upgrade on other models over time. So, I don't know. Goer Deller, Dr. Goer Deller, he resigns as mayor as a protest against Nazis and lose a little bit of national unity and gain a little bit of dissent. Not just because he was mayor of Leipzig, fairly popular, I believe, but not just because he's resigning, but just representing the effect is those that are displeased with the way the National Socialist regime is going. And because of things, we have more research we can do. We're staying away from carriers just because. Not that I hate carriers or anything, it's just I don't know that I'm planning on. Not fighting major naval battles with major naval powers. So we're avoiding that, and we're often going to be fighting. No hockey, James is going crazy. Well, I hear you. Very good, James. Yeah, hopefully history will be keep you from going too crazy. I know it doesn't entirely replace sport for many people. Tried last night, but the file came out as an R. What is it? Any advice? Get the file to I would say unRR it or unzip it. WinRR, WIN RAR, WinRAR. It's a good file, and it basically unzips it, and it's good. And that's what I normally use as my standard instead of paying for the paying for WinZip or whatever zip. Yes, we'll give you energy for money. Yes, we'll give you energy for money. So yeah, it's functionally like a zip file, but I know I sort of use some of that just because I don't have zip, and I just sort of do that. And it's a free to use program, and I don't know whether they just exist on donations and they're not a major company. It's just one of those basic utilities, and we would just colloquially unzip it, just that kind of thing. Oh, and WinRR will deal with at least most zip files just fine too. So it will do the zip, or at least unzip zip files. So you don't have to do that. Okay, it's artillery unit organization advance, which is down here. Operation here. 38. Okay, we will shift that to armor unit control. What is Arno saying? Please build at least one carrier historically Germans technically had it. Yeah, we have it here. I don't know that we're going to get through the production of the Graf Zeppelin in this playthrough, but we have it here. I just don't know that we're going to play long enough to get there. Move the Tirpitz down. But we'll be increasing some more land units soon. Nope, we're not. That went off. There we go. He has brains. Well, good. At least somebody has brains in your family. Railroad networks. And naval bomber prototypes have advanced. Very good. I think that's going to be grayed out. Yep. Operational technology. So we're going to do reconnaissance. Just about every division will have reconnaissance units. And we have a decision that we can make. Railway level 2. Yes. Social Austria. Okay, so yeah. We're probably not going to push. Try to get Austria in early. Yes, railway network, superior strength. Allow firepower focus, and that is here. Okay, well that's the 1940, so we're not going to do that yet. Yeah, okay, all looking good there. And let's do Special Forces Combined Arms and Flying Boat Prototype. Also completed. I like my flying boats. I like my naval air. I prefer that over actually trying to have a navy, or Germany at least. And this is for Germany. Different countries have different priorities. We'll do submarine armament. Well, yippee. Yeah, I hear you, Brett. Bricklayer, stonemason. Is that your brother or you? Seaport capabilities have advanced. See here. Okay, I think we're going to start looking at some of these, and we're going to start here. I know this is a little early. We're getting down to some of these other ones, which we're going to continue to do. We're going to start with the one that's going to take the longest at 12. And start researching that for improving rare mineral production. Wasn't there a prince elector in Prussia who had a regiment of giants or something like that? Okay, what you're thinking of is Frederick the Great did form a regiment that I don't think was necessarily terribly good. I don't know that it was bad or whatever, but he did try to scour at least sort of Germany for some of the tallest men capable in it to sort of be a fearsome appearing unit. Okay, don't even try to pronounce that. Advance. Oh, here. Okay, 39, so we're stopping that. Good. Mountain unit training. Is that down here too? Yes, okay, and it's a 37, so we'll continue that. But we need to replace the other. We'll do military police. And so there was a unit made up, and there was sort of a bounty of maybe almost. No, your trade. Oh, okay. Stonemason seems to have some particular talent. Not that bricklaying doesn't, I mean, you can do obviously a simple paving job versus trying to create an arch with bricks or something that would be a bit more complicated, a bit more stuff, a bit more talent to it. And if you look at particularly, I don't know that anybody's really hardly doing any of these things today, but like Tudor palaces or great houses in England, in which both just the design on the side of a wall with the brick artwork, or some of the brick chimneys, the way that they're very artistically done with bricks, is a bit of a thing where, and now of course stonemasons are carvers, and that is a bit of a real sort of talent. Tired my little bro is the computer nerd, right? Okay. Discrimination reports that the SDP is creating in Czechoslovakia to try to justify their need to break away from Czech governance. Morgan Friedman's birth. You play Black Ice, yes, whatever. I wouldn't put that in there, just it breaks immersion. Not that it's a bad event. Okay, begin the Great Officer Purge. Yes, the Soviet Union doing what it can to destroy itself. Airport capabilities have advanced. Okay, let's take a quick look. Yeah, we're gonna stop that and move that over to, well, 12, so it'll take a while to do that. And light bomber. That's also grayed out. So we'll move that to oil refining. What do we still have? Defensive positions. Okay. That's probably too big to show up on the display. Whatever defensive positions are down here. And we'll move that also over here. Coal to oil conversion. That's another good one that we'll want to have well up on, like prototypes. Air bases for West Germany. Yes. I wonder if they would have called it West Germany or Western Germany, because West Germany definitely, to me, talks about the country of West Germany as opposed to East Germany, or, you know, that's what it was at least popularly called. Like we have West Virginia that used to just be Western Virginia. But now that it's a state, it's West Virginia. If you want mad skills with bricks, then take a look at the skewer brick arch railway bridges. Okay. Huge arch brick railways. Yes, I'm sure. Yeah, so yeah, you can be really talented with bricks. Airport levels. Okay. Artillery unit command and control. Very nice. Okay. And push. One of the reasons I'm pushing ahead here first is, as opposed to, say, pushing into 38 technologies down here, because I don't plan on using any of these troops in 1938 or maybe by late 1939, maybe. So pushing the technology sooner here, in my opinion, doesn't benefit me. But pushing some of this technology sooner does benefit me, because it will give, you know, better production capabilities. So I would prefer to do this first if we're pushing ahead of time. Okay, Deutsches Kraftkart. This is the NSKK magazine. And just also an announcement, we have, now that IKB has got his new computer, we're going to set up, hopefully sometime maybe in this coming week, but sometime that we will do a joint sort of, I don't know if playthrough is the right term, but joint announcing, joint work on, with the game Railway Empire, looking at the railway development in Britain, with a lot of historical interesting facts and details, and hopefully be interesting more than just watching somebody play the game. Love seeing people streaming this game. Okay, thank you. Hail Sync, I don't know. Hopefully I'm not butchering that too badly. Thank you. I haven't at least noticed you around before. You can also follow me here and subscribe over on my YouTube channel if you want to. You can just scroll down. There's a link to it. Okay, artillery unit combined arms advance. Okay, well that's just a 36, so we'll keep running with that. Okay, now this, this is sort of what we've been playing for. I'm going to make a note of this. Maybe I should have done some of the other notes earlier, but use this piece of paper. Make sure that I thought I had, but I didn't think it would affect this, but okay, I'll go in and make sure that, because the spies, it must be spies everywhere, I believe, is mine. And this is black ice. You can see that they are very similar. This is one of the things I want to make sure that, and this is why the update sort of needs to be done. Not that this is terrible, but we're going to get double effects, mostly negative. So yeah. And so I hope you guys would enjoy learning about railroads. Led Zeppelin? I don't know. Oh, yes. The album cover and whatnot from the Hindenburg. Absolutely, yes. First, I didn't quite get that. Culture versus man. How you doing? What's in the Axis and Allies? Oh, okay. Yes, I've liked that game, the new computer game. I'm going to play another series of it. I did win the last one. I like those games too. I like these more complicated games more, but I also like the nice sort of fun, simple game of Axis and Allies 42. That's good. Okay. The Mercedes-Benz company, they built like 30 of these cars. Obviously, there's 4 of them all in the row. That's actually a modern picture of the King of Spain's car that was given to Franco. And the royal family inherited it basically from Franco. That I sort of gray toned out. It's a nice example of the car, and there's it is with 2 machine guns mounted on it. Mercedes, it just sort of interests me, and this is sort of cool going back from one of the surviving ones was used in the Hogan's Heroes series as a prop car driving around. They didn't damage it or anything, just drove it around. So I remember it from a kid. So it sort of fascinates me. Sort of an overbuilt German idea of a staff car that's off-road capable. Rather good, but also rather expensive. So that's why the German army never adopted it. I mean, they got a few of them, or somebody got a few of them and gave them to the army. I don't know. And I think Hitler bought one for himself that was most of Hitler's Mercedes-Benz, and he was sort of personally involved in ordering some of his, including leading up to power. Most of them were just the 2-axle, not the 3-axle versions. Though I do believe he had one of these. Maybe 2, I don't know, but not many. Most weren't his. And if you carefully look at his things, his cars, even into the war period, it's just a 2-axle version of a Mercedes car. Basically, what this does is it costs you a fair amount. If you want to do it, gives you a little bit of tech bonus, and gives you an industrial capacity. Basically represents the expansion there, but it also gives you 5,000 research in a tech that will slightly, you don't see that, you can't look at research the tech, but will slightly increase the speed of a standard generated, not a one of these sort of standard HQ things, not a specially HQ. So the standard HQs will move just a little bit better if you want to invest in better staff cars for your HQ. Have you tried? Well, Panzer General, the original Panzer General, I played. I've been playing Panzer Corps 2 on my channel, as I think you know, OCB. But yeah, no, the original Panzer General. I played the hell out of that game when it first came out. The World War One, yeah, that could be a good game. I don't know how well I would interpret World War One because World War One was at least on the borders of a rather static game or static war compared to what for Axis and Allies to do that well. Don't know. I'm not saying it's a bad game, and I'm not saying you shouldn't get it or anything like that. But I just don't know how well that mechanic would work. Where Risk is sort of vaguely, very vaguely, obviously, sort of like a Napoleonic era kind of game and moving your units around, and you know that does sort of kind of represent what was going on then. And Axis and Allies, taking over France or taking over, Poland or the Ukraine or something big sort of thing. That sort of works. I just don't know how World War One and the stalemate nature, the attritional nature of that war would work with the Axis and Allies type engine. Idea to make a. Oh, IKB could do a nice let's play on something like Railway Empire. Hello, Chaos. How you doing? Don't have time to do the editing. Well, I don't edit anything myself, so which may be a problem why I'm not getting as many viewers, but I just make them and put them up there. Might have asked this before, but I can't remember. But in HoI3, there was a mod I love very much called Realism or something like that. Are you thinking historical plausibility mod or something like that? HP or historically plausible, whatever. Maybe I've not played Hearts of Iron 2, so I can't really comment. If it's in reasonably good taste, I would like a World War II joke. That would be fine. Because you definitely can get something that's not in good taste that we wouldn't appreciate. Okay. Yes, Ford Werk AG, Ford Motor Company, as well as Ford himself, was heavily invested in Germany, and this gives us a chance to increase foreign investment in Germany, or we can decline it. I would generally go with it. It's a good idea. And what tech did we just get? Okay. The A one that I have trouble pronouncing. Here. Okay, we're going to stop that. Come back up to industrial. Yeah, we might as well do coal processing now. Hiroshima was kind of hot. Okay, yeah. Yes, you could say that about any bombed city. You're going to take the time, I guess, with me to make one. Don't know how much. Obviously, it'd be more. Other than simply making more, but yeah. Okay, direct unit. Fired. Okay, and we're going to stop that. And move it over to an industry. Industrial supply production. Ooh, that's nice. Ammunition production. Now see here, which I think is sort of Count Blue's sort of problem when I was asking him and trying to just get general feedback on why people don't want to play the versions of Black Ice after 9.11. One of course, is a major thing is all the sub mods, including Third Reich Events, but is all the text. So, okay, additional supply production, plus 25% on supplies, which, yeah, okay. Additional ammunition production, plus 37%, and obviously it's already getting some. And just that would be the increase. And plus military rations production. One, I'm not sure how technology is increasing any of these. Military ration production. Now, the U.S. was, I would have to say, in all my experience, the most advanced at making military rations in the sense of, sort of combat rations that are made in the U.S., put in a box. Often there's like tin cans and whatnot in there, and shipped around the globe that were edible straight out of the things. You don't have to heat anything. A lot of the tin canned and other things taste better heated, but if you're, in the jungle and you're sort of starving, and making a fire is either, I don't know if impossible is the right term, but either very difficult or giving your position away. So you're hungry and you're just going to chow down on whatever's in that can because you're that hungry. Or, like I say, it's just hard to start a fire in the desert or something like that. You can't easily do that. So ready to eat rations wherever in the world, the U.S., in my opinion, is the best. Britain does it moderately well, but and I'm not an expert on all the nations. Germany does have some of that, I believe, but not very well. I don't think the Soviets do it well at all. I'm not saying they don't have tin cans of things that go up to troops, but for either the Germans or the Soviets. But the Germans are still sort of, throughout most of World War II, given bread that's baked. They bake breads and loaves and hand them out to the troops to sort of eat for a few days in World War II, and they were baked in field kitchens. Now, the U.S. definitely baked bread in field kitchens during World War II. They definitely, and you can see them in some of the movies that do good jobs at showing what it was like in World War II, in which they're showing up to like a truck or a trailer or whatever, and sometimes they're a special built truck, sometimes they're just a standard truck, and I've sort of looked into this, in which they have a stove unit that is modular. They often had like 3 stove units in one truck. The Germans had a modular stove unit too that was meant to be a towed wagon that they often just took the wheels off and stuck it in the back of the truck. But these modular units that could be sat, maybe bolted down in the back of a truck, but could be taken out and put in the on the ground, or moved to another truck or something. Modular units that I think were primarily fueled by gasoline, meaning they were set up for gasoline fire base. Because hey, the U.S. has so much gasoline, we'll just use it to cook our food as everything else. Where the Germans, of course, couldn't do that, not at all. They've got to burn wood or something, or coal or whatever to cook their food. So just again, and IKB and I were talking just the other day, earlier this week, about U.S. production capability. Just think, Germany and other countries are starving for fuel. The Americans, we'll just use it to cook all of our food too. That's how flush we were with gasoline, and not just that we had the gasoline, but that we were getting it to the most remote parts of the world. Jungles in Burma or whatever. So we were not only had the gasoline, we were getting it everywhere efficiently to also cook our food, as well as to run our airplanes, and we had higher octane fuel than the Germans were able to do because of technology. Partially just the Germans knew some of the technology, not all of it, but they didn't have the capability of producing enough of the high octane fuel. Even what they had, technically, they could technically know how to do but couldn't produce enough of it. Just not, and for the high quality, if my understanding is correct. Partially it's the grade or the source of the fuel, which could also be coming from liquefaction, but also just the sort of right fuel plants to make the super high octane fuel. They didn't have much of that. So just talking about production capabilities. So the U.S. definitely was taking, shall we say, sides of uncooked beef in the fields in North Africa or wherever and making meals for the soldiers. And we're definitely taking wheat and baking bread for soldiers in the field. But they were also passing out, C rations and other lettered rations that put out there as well. So the U.S. is definitely the best of that, and that is definitely a technological thing. But I don't know, and definitely you could have technology. I don't know about what is supplies if it isn't ammunition. What is it? Belt buckles or belts? Are you making that for your. See, this is gamer analyzing mods, and I understand what military rations are. I don't know what this technology is supposed to represent. That it increases supply production. So, I presume this isn't simply more food production, which we sort of have in the game by here by increasing manpower, meaning more efficient. I take agricultural improvements as reducing the required manpower to produce X amount of food, So more tractors, more whatever, and sort of represented here by a technology, but better industrialization, better food production that produces more food for less manpower. So we get more manpower. So I get that. Not a perfect, because better agricultural technology may mean a reduction in factories because you're making tractors and mechanical plows to go on the back of tractors, or harvesting equipment to go on the back of tractors instead of making tanks or trucks for the army or whatever, and including trucks for the farms, which is definitely something that's going on in America before the war and during the war. They were putting more and more trucks out on farms to do this. So, not only are they making military trucks, they're making farm trucks in America. So I don't know what military ration production this is. I don't get this. Now, supplies. Yes, there's more supplies than simply ammo. But I would take supplies to mostly being food, which is sort of a constant supply that soldiers need in garrison or need in combat. And sure, they'll burn a little more calories in combat just because it is a little bit more and forced marches in combat. But still, training is going to burn a lot of calories. So you're going to eat, and if you're going to feed your army well, you're going to feed your army about the same in peacetime as in wartime, if you can. So, supply. So, and then training. You're going to shoot some artillery shells. You're going to shoot some rifle and machine gun bullets in training. But you can do a lot of training. And if we're talking non-motorized units, you can do a lot of training. So you're not talking fuel in that part of the training, because you're just, training, fire and movement training, but because you don't want to accidentally shoot your own soldiers. You're just doing it without firing anything. So training doesn't use quite as much ammo, obviously, but would use some. So you would consume some ammo in peacetime training. So static units that even whether in war and peace would be eating and would be doing a certain amount of training. So they would burn supply. But then there are other supplies. How much of that in this game supplies is simply replacement equipment, which does get worn out in peacetime? Yeah, okay. And boots are a thing that will get, worn out, and uniforms that get worn out and replacements. So I get that those are different. Yeah, so I get some of this, but I don't really know why you're breaking these out. Why you're not. How does this benefit the game, I guess, is what I'm trying to say, is to have these three things. Because either you are a major, like Germany, and you're going to research all of these, or you are a, maybe, and I haven't played the Soviet Union, but a distressed major that you need to, or something like China or whatever, but China really isn't a major power. That you're going to focus on, like we're ignoring carrier technology here. If I was Japan, I would not be ignoring carrier technology. If I was Russia, I would be ignoring carrier technology entirely, just because it does not benefit Russia unless you're doing world conquest Russia and you're going to eventually go after the US, and you can just wait till that time comes. And so you may have to more, focus on just one of these. And so, but if you're a minor like Yugoslavia or Spain or something like that, but I still don't understand how you wouldn't just have more levels or something here. I don't get how this helps. And I'm going to look at the chat to see if any of you have any ideas on how this helps. Does this make this better game somehow? So, you know much about it. How did the Germans win the war? Oh, I don't know. Is it sort of like a? I love all the text. Give me more units, more fun. I'll have basically the more of everything is bad. Okay, and that isn't a bad idea, and it's more immersion, and I'm just trying to balance out with, because I do look at this as a design from a game designer's viewpoint. I'm not complaining about this. I hope this doesn't come out as a complaint. It's just more of a why. How does this? And we just want more tech. Now, see, where if we're looking at idea of like superchargers and air cooling and controllable pitch radar propellers, those are an attack. Those, and especially with this sort of, as opposed to having a specific model, which I actually like Black Ice, Hearts of Iron 4 models better, in that you're researching more the historical models of aircraft and things and tanks and whatnot per nation. And then you could definitely have some of these techs as a precursor to one of the technologies that they have. You got to have controllable pitch propellers, I don't know, to be able to do 109s, if that's what they had. I have no idea what they had for their. I understand what controllable pitch for the propellers, but I don't know which aircraft had it and didn't. And I can see this as a benefit. So I can see these and more immersion and more of these, whether they're as just a general additive. And so nations that can afford researching these things will have better aircraft. The nations that can't. But then, of course, which is a problem with this game, is I can't just give, say, Hungary or Romania German-built aircraft. That's sort of a problem, and it's not easy for me to just give up the technology to them so that their ICs produce the aircraft. So again, I think this is a better game currently than Hearts of Iron 4, but because of equipment production, because of whether it's giving outdated equipment to Romania or giving them your newest equipment to Romania as Germany, it has potential of being a much better game. It has that potential. It just isn't there yet. But it certainly has the potential of being a better game. So yeah, and partially is it, well, I guess they do different amounts, but it's the same research difficulty. I'm not complaining about this, but I understand why somebody is sort of going, hey, it just get overwhelming. I do understand that. Okay. Answer: they didn't have controllable pitch. Okay, yeah, I don't know aircraft that well. I've watched the Wings of the Luftwaffe, and I think I've series highly recommend it. I think you might be able to find it on YouTube or some other source, but a series Wings of the Luftwaffe is really good. But just Wings, sometimes it's just Wings of Vietnam or Wings of the Soviet Union or whatever. The Wings series is very good. I've watched them all. I just don't necessarily retain all that information. Okay, demonstration of the Ritter or Reiter SA, and there's multiples of them going on. But to the public, something that you don't often hear about outside of Third Reich Events. And here's another thing sort of goes along with that, is that they would do sort of like 160 millimeter, or not millimeter, 160 kilometer ride, across parts of Germany as sort of a demonstration of and training. Do they have all their, stuff together to be able to effectively go out, ride and march, and they're not marching, but they're riding and camping and taking care of their horses in the field and maintaining them and coming back. And this is sort of doing that. So it's costing us supplies. Air liaison advance, very nice. That is down here. Okay, we're going to stop that. Move it over to industry. Great, thanks, Arno. I highly recommend the series if you're at all interested in. Okay, we have even larger, and so what we're going to do here is I want to more quickly get down some of the descent that we built up, and part of that descent was that double hit from the Hindenburg that you should not have in your game. Something in researching things, there was a major you see the seaplanes there on cradles to get them on land, but there was up here in this area, there was a major seaplane base that worked for overseas going, no, and sort of here because it was calm water location, but going up and around the Baltic, but also going out other places, and even theoretically over eventually to the U.S. or well, over to the Americas, North and South America. So we can build this. Sort of looking at this, okay. Yeah, we can afford the metal isn't too big, because we also, you see that Lubeck text. Okay, so we can here, okay, already has some airbase there, so we can expand it, because I think I did put that in TRE start. We can expand it, and this is also airfield, the East Stella here available. It was the, yeah, it was an airfield and test site for testing and developing new stuff. So that's part of, you can see the flying boat technology gain. So that's partially some of the metal is looking at like test models of aircraft, I think, and supplies. So yeah, we'll do that. And so you see it pumped into that in production, but you see it's sort of like there. So we're moving to the top. So you get 2 more air bases there here. There was already some. We're expanding it to make that a major air operations base for flying boats. But and as you could see, and there's looked at the picture, can't go back to it obviously. Thanks, Arno, for putting it in both places. There are also conventional runways as part of the airbase, not just water. Fire unit. And we'll stop that. And we'll come down to this. You can see the name thing does sort of kind of cover things up, but you can pull it out a little bit. It goes on. I like that they've done the names. Mobile Unit Training Advanced. Okay, yeah, number 38 technology. We'll get to those either in 38 or whatever, but first, we want to do all these, but we want to do these kinds of things first. And either you get to live with the dissent, which does sort of hurt some of your production, or you can put in the more consumer goods to bring it down faster. Okay, we've lost that agreement. Okay, well, I think we're going to bring this episode to an end here. And maybe the live stream, I think, as well, shortly at least. If you haven't already, please subscribe, like the video, and all that kind of stuff.